By the captain of the Jimmy Fund for the Red Sox, Brock Holt. Your name's been thrown around a lot here over the last couple of days because this means so much to you, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And, I got traded over here before the 2013 season and Jimmy Fund right away. And, I just kind of gravitated to this organization, and it's been a big part of mine and my wife's life since we've been here. So it's a special place that does really special things, and we're fortunate to be in a position where we can kind of make a difference and go over there and help out, and it means a lot to us.
We've all gone over there, and you go over there quite often to make visits. It's an amazing feeling that these kids and these families that are going through the worst day of their lives, or certainly not a great day, that in a little way you can bring a smile to their face. You never take that for granted, do you?
Never. I mean, whenever you go over there, if you've been over there, you've seen it. These kids are going through, like you said, some of the most difficult times of their lives, and as parents, as a new parent, seeing young kids having to go through what they're going through, and seeing their parents and can't even begin to imagine, how they're feeling, what they're going through, and just to go over there and have fun. Like we have a great time over there, and the Jimmy Fund does a good job of putting together activities for the kids, so they can kind of take their minds off of things, and it's fun to just go over there and hang out and just kind of be a friend, be a normal person, and talk with them and spend some time with them, and do whatever kind of activities they've got going on over there.
You mentioned 2013, and as you were saying that, I kind of felt like we've watched you grow up here in Boston right before our eyes. You and Lakin have a child now. You've come from being that young guy to kind of being an older veteran on the team, but also you are a dad now. How different is that experience now that you can look at your son and think about, my God, I can't imagine what it would be like going through this?
It's it made it a lot more difficult to go over there and seeing kids the same age as my son, and like I said, I can't even begin to imagine what it's like getting that news, that your kid has cancer, or being there while they're getting treatment, seeing them sick, and knowing that you can't physically do anything to help them except be there for them and kind of talk them through it. And so yeah, it's made it more difficult, but the success stories that you see, that makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, being a parent now and seeing that, it makes it's definitely harder to go over there, but it also means a lot more now too.
Doing this over the years, we get very close with some of the kids, some of the patients and families we get to meet. You lose some of those along the way. Patrick White was a teenager I befriended back in 2003, the first kid to call me after they won the World Series. He said, "They're going to win this year." I said, "You call me." Yes, sir. I'm driving home from Game 4, and there's the phone. "Hey, Mr. Carrot, it's Patrick White. How about that?" He passed away a couple of years ago. You've obviously lost very close to you. We just heard Lisa Scherber talking about Maddie and what that meant to you. Talk a little about how tough this is and why it's important to keep doing this in their memory for the next kid to walk through the doors at the Jimmy Fund, why it's important to keep this going.
Just because, the success stories are so, they're so great. Obviously, we never want to, we never want to lose, anyone to this disease. And, the more money we can raise, the better chance we have of putting an end to this. And everyone in the world has been touched by cancer, some way or another. And, as sad as it is, whenever you do lose someone you love, stuff like this really helps, raise funds and you give these doctors and these researchers the things that they need to better the medicines, and hopefully one day we can come to a place where you get cancer and it's not that big of a deal, because we've come a long way, and I feel like it's come a long way over the last 10, 15 years, but there's still a long way to go, and you know, every dollar helps, and you know, hopefully we can get to the point where we don't lose loved ones from this disease.
One of the most amazing things to me when you go over there is how the entire family is cared for, you know, because a lot of times the kid, I'm not sure they always know what's going on, right? And Lisa Sherber's got activities and they can play, and Brock Holt is over here signing autographs, and you look over at the mom and dad, and they're the ones who are scared as hell. You started Brock Star Tuesdays. Is it Tuesdays the day you bring the family in? And I think the great thing about that program is that it is the whole family. The whole family is coming to the ballpark and having a fun night out. How much has it meant to you to be able to do that for these families?
It's a blast. It's a blast, and you know, I think it kind of gets, like you said, the whole family gets to come out and go to BP and be on the field and be close to the players. And there you see talking to Chris Sale. You know, I like to think I'm a lot of these kids' favorite players, but turns out I'm not all the time. So they get to be around some of their favorite players, meet them, shake their hands, get autographs, take pictures, watch us hit, and then come to the game too. So it's great for the kids, but like you said, it's great for the families too to just get away from kind of what they're going through and dealing with, and you know, have a day away.
Lisa Sherman told me once, you've never said no. She said since Brock's gotten involved, he never says no. Listen, we all golf in charity tournaments. We all get involved. You get pulled in a million directions trying to help. Why has this resonated with you the way it has?
Honestly, I've always loved kids. Growing up, I've always enjoyed being around them. You know, and I've always wanted to be a dad myself. That's the one thing I've always wanted to do, and you know, I'm doing that now. But just being around kids and helping out however I can, that's what's special to me. So I think that's kind of why the Jimmy Fund has meant so much, and you know, will continue to be a big part of my life and who I am.
All right, I got to ask you, 3-game losing streak, kind of a shock to the system here in New England. 4 months. I mean, that's remarkable in itself, right? I assume everything's okay in the clubhouse. I assume there's no panic in the clubhouse.
Yeah, I think everything's fine. I think everything's fine. You know, yeah, obviously you go through, you know, little stretches, and we've been pretty consistent, pretty consistently good this season. So, you know, you lose 3 in a row, everyone starts to hit the panic button a little bit. And when I say everybody, I'm talking about the outside world, but everyone in the clubhouse, we're doing fine.
When you go through a stretch like this, and again, baseball's supposed to be like this, not supposed to be easy. And I know it's not easy, but there are times you guys make it look easy because this team is that good. There's kind of that, and this is the classic sports radio discussion, right? Like the 07 Patriots should have lost a game in the regular season. Maybe they'd have won the Super Bowl, right? That it's better to get that out of there. Players don't believe that for a second, do they? I mean, losing a game never helps in the big picture, does it? Or
No,
is there a belief that, well, it's probably good to go through some difficulties now?
I mean, yeah, obviously we know we're not going to go 162-0. You know, we're going to lose games, and you know, we're playing Major League Baseball teams on the other side. So we know that we're good, and I think the reason that we've been able to be so consistent is because we don't get caught up in, oh, this is our record, this is how many games we've won, this is how many games we've lost. If we win, we go in, we turn the music on, we enjoy it, we go home, and we come back, you know, ready to play the next day, expecting to win. If we lose, same thing. We just don't turn music on after the game. You know, we go home and we come back to the field the next day expecting to win. So obviously we know we're going to lose sometimes, but you know, we've been able to be on the winning side more times than not, and you know, we're going to continue to do that.
You've had a really good season for a guy who at one point in spring training went in to talk to Alex Cora just to make sure you knew where you stood on this roster. And after everything you've been through, the concussions, the vertigo, on and on with the DL, how do you, I know you've got the tunnel vision, I know you're locked in, you're a grinder, you battle every night, but is there a moment along this journey here this season that you've gotten to take a moment and appreciate that you're kind of back where you hoped you could be?
I think this whole season. You know, I've told a lot of people that this is probably the most fun I've ever had playing baseball. Just being part of this team is pretty special. We've got a lot of good players. You know, our staff is unbelievable, and you know, it's just a fun group to be a part of, and we're doing special things, and you know, we're hoping that we're the last team standing at the end of the year. But it's just a lot of fun, and I'm fortunate to be a part of this great team.
Tell us a little about Alex Cora. I covered him as a player, and he seemed like that type of guy, kind of like you would be, though I know you just want to be a dad and run off and retire, and we'll never hear from you again.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do more commercials with us, because you bring the ratings.
I might join the Nesson team.
There you
Who
go.
knows?
There you go.
We'll see.
Not soon, though. Keep playing. As
Yeah.
Alex Cora said, they'd always tell me I would be a great manager. I want to keep playing, so let's hold off on that. But he certainly seems to be a guy, you talk about the fun atmosphere in the clubhouse, and it begins at the top, obviously, right?
No, he's been a big difference of about kind of how things have been going this year. I think he kind of brings that energy. He's not too far out from playing himself. He understands how hard the game is, and he lets us go out and play and be ourselves. And he has fun with us, and there's no panic in him. And coming from the top, that's huge. Like if you see you're the man in charge, the guy who's making the lineup every day, and he's enjoying the ride just as much as we are. It's a lot easier for us to go out and play hard and continue to be as consistent as we've been. But he keeps things loose and lets us be us, and I think it's showed.
J.D. Martinez is going to come up in a moment over on the radio side, and before we let you go, we watch him in the cage. I've never seen anybody as obsessed with it as he is. Have you learned anything just watching him go about his business?
Yeah, I mean, he watches more film than anyone I've ever seen. He works. I mean, obviously he's one of the best hitters in baseball, but I think he's so meticulous in his work that that's just kind of become who he is, and that's kind of what's made him as good as he is. And he works harder than anyone that I've ever played with, and I think that's why he continues to be as successful as he is. He knows what the pitcher's going to do to him. He watches film. He watches his swing. He knows when something's not going right with his swing. He knows how to fix it, and he's been a huge part of our success this year. Obviously, because he's having such a great season in the middle of the lineup, but he's helped everyone around him get better, and just watching him go about his work on a daily basis is pretty cool to see.
Last question. What's it feel like to hit a pinch hit home run?
It feels great. That one felt really good, actually. Yeah, I obviously don't hit very many home runs, so I came in. Your pinch hitting's hard. Hitting's hard as it is, but when you're coming in the 8th, 9th inning after sitting around for a while, you try to stay as ready as you can. But taking flips in the cage isn't really the same as going up and facing 98 or whatever it may be. But that one felt good, and I was just glad I could get that done for Porcello, because he threw a heck of a game and hit a double himself. So.
Right, had been the best hitter in the game up to that point,
yeah.
until you hit the home run.
I didn't know why we were pinch hitting for him in the first place. But,
well, it worked out.
It worked out, yeah.
Thanks for coming by. I know it's a busy couple of days. We appreciate the time.
No, thank you. I'm happy to be here.